Greetings and welcome back to Doctor Who Revisited, my ongoing series where I go through every single Doctor Who episode from 1963 all the way up to 2022 and review them. And now we are on to the season finale of Season 2 of the classic era, The Time Meddler. This is a really good season finale. It's not the best episode of the season, but as a way to close out this season and give people something to look forward to in the next one, it's really good. Obviously, it starts out as like a regular Doctor Who story. First of all, let me just address the first elephant in the room, Stephen Taylor, a new companion, a character we saw last time in The Chase, in the final two episodes of The Chase, or maybe just the final episode, I can't remember. Yeah, he sort of somehow drunkenly stumbles into the TARDIS during a big skirmish between the Daleks and Mechanoids on the planet Mechanos, and somehow finds his way into the TARDIS, which was conveniently opened. And that must have been a pretty big shock when audiences back in 1965 saw him just randomly appear in the TARDIS. But who cares? I mean, it's a moment, it happens, and now we're on to the next one. The Doctor, pretty willingly, I should say, just accepts him into the TARDIS. Again, it's another case of a companion joining the Doctor's crew a little bit unwillingly, but at the same time, I mean, where the hell is he going to go anyway? I mean, they pretty much marooned him on the planet Mykonos for, what was it, 2 years, I think? And now he's gone, and he accidentally stumbled into the TARDIS. The Doctor clearly can't send him back there, and even if he could, there's not much left to go back to. So, yeah, let's just join the TARDIS crew and see where things go from there. First of all, I gotta be honest here. Even though I always say that I think Vicky is a much better character than Susan, not a big fan of Stephen Taylor here. To me, he was always a lesser version of Ian. And Ian's my favorite male companion of the first Doctor. As a matter of fact, Ian and Barbara together as a unit are my favorite first Doctor companions. And even though I always say that Vicky was a upgrade from Susan, Stephen Taylor, a downgrade. And something that you'll notice quite often with the first Doctor is, as far as companions go, he sort of has a type, in a way, which is usually just a strapping young man to do all the physical stuff that William Hartnell couldn't, and a young female child to sort of act as a way for the Doctor to be a lovable grandfather. And the child is quite often Susan, Vicky, and soon to be Dodo. The strapping young man is quite often Ian, then Stephen, and then Ben Jackson. And then occasionally a young woman to be a sort of equal to the strapping young man. But it doesn't always happen because during the time of Stephen Taylor, that there wasn't one. But I'm getting a little off subject here. I'll just sum it up by saying not a big fan of Stephen, but we'll get more episodes to talk about why I don't like that character. Anyways, so again, like I said, starts out like a pretty normal episode, landing on a random location, possibly in time, possibly on another planet. No one knows quite when or where. Eventually, as time moves on, we get to learn that it was an area in Britain. Around the time of the Vikings, we see this mysterious figure, a monk figure, spying on the TARDIS, not being too fazed by the fact that a 1960s police box just randomly materialized out of nowhere on a beach in, 10th century BC, 10th century AD, 11th century AD, something along that line. And then we don't really get to know much about this character. We get introduced to this nice English village that, once again, the Doctor and companions get separated. And as things move on, we get to learn that things aren't quite as they seem. Certain technologies being in that location that shouldn't be. And then again, as the episode moves on, you get to know, you sort of learn that it's really just the monk character that just feels completely out of place. Obviously, he's got these binoculars which should not exist in that time. He's got a record player. He's got a laboratory in the monastery. Again, all kinds of anachronistic technology. He's got a wristwatch. All kinds of stuff that shouldn't be in that time frame. And then later, you learn that he's actually a Time Lord. Now, obviously, the name Time Lord hadn't actually been coined yet at this point in the show's history. We just are led to believe that it's the same species as the Doctor. And later in the episode, we learn he also has a TARDIS. And not just that, he has like a armory inside his TARDIS, or just a place where he keeps all kinds of random artifacts that he took from different points in history. And he even keeps notes of all the times he's meddled in history and changed things in his perspective for the better. And it's a recurring theme with Time Lords just going to other planets and interfering with different parts of history in their minds for the better. Obviously, in later seasons and later years and later decades, once you actually get to learn more about Time Lord society, the way that it is, you can kind of start to understand why some Time Lords would take issue with that. All the restrictions that Time Lords have on people. You can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this. Is it any wonder that the Doctor wanted to leave? Is it any wonder that the monk, or the master, or even the Rani wanted to leave and do their own thing? Even Professor Chronotis. Like, is it really any wonder that Time Lord Society isn't fit for everyone? That's all I can see for that. But other than just, we finally get to see another member of the Doctor's race that isn't, the Doctor or Susan, really not much else to go on with this episode. So it's really good fun. Final episode. I loved just the battle of wits between the Doctor and the monk. And first of all, I love the monk. I love what they're doing with him on Big Finish. And it just, every time the monk shows up, he very clearly is his own character. He's very different from the Master or any other Renegade Time Lord we see in the show, where he has his own modus operandi. Again, messing with history, but in his mind, it's for the better. Even though the Doctor always tries to undo it, and every time the monk shows up, I love the bickering between these two guys, and how one keeps trying to one-up the other, eventually ending up with the Doctor winning. And it's a pretty common thing at this point with the monk. Well, right now it is, but at the time, this episode really does set a precedent for it, that every time the monk shows up, the Doctor ends up beating the monk with his own technology. Particularly in this case, by taking the monk's dimensional control from the TARDIS, making it incredibly tiny on the inside, to fit the exterior dimensions of the outside. And as we'll see with the monk's next appearance on the show, that's going to become a regular thing whenever the monk shows up in other stories. But that is a story for another time. Final thoughts, really good episode, love it as a season closure, love the monk, wish they used him more in the classic series, but I'm thankful for the two stories we got with him. Spoilers. But yeah, thank you for watching if you have. And that is my final thoughts on this season overall. Like I said previously, good season. Not as good as William Hartnell's first season, but William Hartnell shines as the Doctor in this season. More so than in season 1 and in season 3 and a little bit of season 4 that he got to do. So even though I think this is not the best season, it's William Hartnell's best season as the Doctor, if that makes any sense to you. But yeah, that's all I can say for this season and this serial. And got plenty of more serials to go ahead and watch and review, so better get right on that. So thank you for watching, and goodbye for now.
Hi there! Thank you for watching the video. And if you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and tell your friends. I'll see you next time.